My name is Mohamad Raja, as you guys probably saw on the post. A lot of people call me Coach, so it's another name that a lot of people call me by as well. If you guys don't know me, I've been with FFL now for close to 3 years, and honestly, best decision I ever made in my life. Of course, starting from being a top producer, going into the building part, and then, last year opening, an agency of my own. And one of the things that when they told me to get on this call that they wanted me to go over was going to be how to build up, 50K plus a month producers, which something that of course is not easy, right? Like we all know that these are the top of the top people. It's you're looking for a bunch of qualities. You're talking about people who are willing to put in the work, people who are coachable, people who see the bigger picture, people who don't get complacent and maybe even do it for 1 month, but how many months could they do it is the real question, right? So let's just say when we're talking about taking writers from, let's say, 0 to 50K plus, one thing that everybody talks about in every single training, and it's one thing that I kind of hate it, right? Is they always say it comes down to two things, and they talk about two things only and act like this is the only two factors. They always talk about activity and leads, right? And they just say, hey, man, if you work really hard and you purchase leads and you buy leads because it's a lead based industry, then you're going to do well here as long as you put in the work, the hours, and activity. Yes, that's really true, right? It's really hard to kind of build up, a team that's successful if you don't have, people who are working really hard, people who aren't putting in the work, people who aren't buying leads, right? Now, of course, that's kind of like the base of it, but that's kind of like I said, it's just the base. It's not actual. If you look deeper into it, there's way more that goes into it besides than just that. So what I would say is first, thing, of course, to kind of go into that part is going to be if you want to build 50K producers, first thing is you have to get people to work 60 hours a week. If they're not putting in 60 hours a week, I'm telling you, it's close to impossible or just very, very hard. Very few people are going to do it. And we're not looking to build a team with maybe if you have 100 agents, one guy maybe that puts up 50K. That's not the goal. It's to be able to build a culture and a team where if we're looking at least maybe 15%, hopefully, could at least be in that top kind of 50K plus numbers that you're seeing so many people put up. Now, of course, it's not just putting in the hours, it's being intentional with your time. So, okay, are you working 60 hours or are you just here for 60 hours? Are you just on, Zoom for 60 hours or are you actually dialing and working for 60 hours? So that's one of the big ways to do it. And one thing that we do, especially for new agents, we have these activity trackers where they can even track how many dollars they're making. And you could put down like a tally for, if they're messing up, right? And the reason why is because we preach that really hard here is anybody could say they worked 60 hours, in a week, but if you dial 10 people, take a 10-minute break, then dial another five people, go take an hour lunch, go hit the gym, you didn't work 60 hours. Like our guys know, like we have guys here in the office, for example, we have a Wawa that's across the street. Most of their lunches, they just go to Wawa, get it right back because they're like, man, I could, go to Wawa, get my food, eat it, 30 minutes, I'm back on the phone. And this is how I'm going to put in my 60 hours. I'm not going to put it in by, saying I work 60 hours, but in return, I'm taking hour long, hour and a half long lunch breaks. So it's a culture thing, right? But at the same time, it's being honest with yourselves and being honest with your guys and telling them, hey, bro, like you don't put in 60 hours a week if this is what your day looks like. Now, to go into the leads part as well, right? Because like I said, everybody tells you activity and leads, right? So when it comes to leads, I always say you have to have leads that match your work ethic. And what I mean by that is leads that match your work ethic is you can't just have a guy that's spinning on the same leads over and over and over again, but says, hey man, I work hard and I buy leads. How am I not selling at a higher level? Well, it's like you got to be honest. It depends if you're running volume, depends if you're running high intent, right? But let's just say me, personally, like we run volume here, right? I always say if I'm running through a lead on its third time, after that, there's not as much juice left on it. And if you're running high intent, maybe you run through it a couple more times, maybe like 5 times would probably be at that point where you're kind of running out of juice on the leads. And to just encourage somebody to just spin on the same leads 10 times over because that's just how the business works. It's not. How the business works is you buy X amount of leads, you make X amount of profit on it, you double down, you buy more leads to be able to get more people on the phone, And you have to kind of do the math and do the numbers and just say, at what point am I kind of spending on the same leads, but I'm not getting the same return anymore? So, for example, if I spent on the leads once, they're fresh leads, I went through them the first time, right? Okay, I got X amount of sales. As I went through them on the second time, how many sales did I get through? As I went through the third time, how many sales did I get? Now, let's just say it's the fourth time when you realize this is where your drop off is when you're doing your analytics, right? Say, hey, my fourth spin is where the drop off is. I don't ever want to be in a position where I have to spin on leads for a fourth time. So, how many leads do I have to buy in order to match my 60 hours a week work ethic to make sure that I'm just not wasting my time dialing leads that just are never going to pick up or just going to tell you I don't want to buy it for the millionth time? So again, leads to match your work ethic. And I'm not going to go too deep into this because, like I said, that's what everybody gets on this training, and that's what they're going to tell you. The other factors that's going to come into building 50K producers is going to be three things. It's going to be standard and culture and training. And what do you, excuse me. So to dig deeper into the standard and culture, right? So I would say if you're going to build somebody that's going to sell at a high level, that just means you, from a leadership standpoint, you have to be the highest leader, like quality available, right? Like you can't just say I'm going to build somebody that's going to be at the top level, but you don't have an elite level mentorship that you're also offering as well. It goes hand in hand. So take a look inside yourself and inside your own mirror and say, hey, if I'm expecting the people to work 60 hours a week to produce at a high level, I might as well putting in that same 60 hours. Because if you're not, I'm telling you, people are not probably not going to follow what you're saying because you're not leading from the front. So putting in the hours yourself is going to help people kind of be motivated. And honestly, like something that you'll probably even see is if the guy that brought you into the business working 60 hours and it's 8 o'clock at night and he's still on, I promise you that I bet the guy that he just brought in is going to feel like he has to stay on as well. It's you have to be like the best amount of like kind of pushing him. Oh, one second. I think me Peter just kind of sorry. It looks like Peter kind of lagged for a second. You guys hear me? Everything's good? All right, perfect. So yeah, like I said, if you're not putting in the 60 hours a week yourself, it's going to be really hard for somebody to do it, right? And they're watching you and they see you get off at 5 or they see you take your hour and some change lunch break every single day. They're probably going to follow the same thing. And like I said from earlier with the work ethic part, is if they're following your example and your example isn't a good example, then they're all going to kind of fall into that same path as well. So you want to make sure that you're kind of the best example of a leader and what that should be. And that's how you get people to buy in, right? Because the cycle is what I always say. The more money that somebody on your team sells, the more money that they're going to make, the more they're going to believe. And the more that they believe, the more they're going to work. And also, along with that, when somebody new comes into the business, what does he see? I'm in an area where I see so many people making money. Why can't that be me? Instead of the other way around, where in a lot of agencies, what you're seeing is somebody thinks it's like a huge deal for them to sell 40K plus a month, right? Or 50K plus a month. They think it's an entirely huge deal when that's not really the case, right? It should be, why aren't you selling 40K instead of basically giving a round of applause for somebody for selling 40K? And the reason why is because if they see one, if you're just starting off and you're still new to building, right? First thing you got to do is try your absolute hardest to be able to sell 50K a month yourself. Because from there, then your credibility comes in as well. So if you're trying to teach somebody how to do it, the more likely that he is to listen is to see results. So if I'm looking at, let's just say I'm looking at, Jason Becker here, I see on Zoom, and I just joined his team and I see, hey, like this dude sells 30K a month and he's telling me that I have to work X amount of hours and he's not working them. And two, it's like, well, if I follow exactly what he does, I'll make 30K. I do the math on it. I make this amount of money. Oh, okay, whatever. But if he's telling me exactly what to do and I look at the numbers, he's like, he just sold 50K. If I do the math and I do exactly what he's doing and I push myself, yeah, I can make $25,000 in profit just like he did. Oh man, like how can I not follow that lead and do it as well? Like that's what it is. Like you have to set that example of this is what it kind of looks like here to win. And I'm going to show you guys. And also at the same time, like I said, I'm not going to just show you, I'm going to show other people around you. Right. And if you show everybody else around him how to sell at a high level, when you start plugging people in, it just becomes, oh wow, that's just what people do there, right? So like I said, people are gonna buy in more when they see more success around them. So it starts with you. If you have to be the one to sell the 50K, fine, so be it. It's got to be you. Then you just got to put your all into training somebody else to try to do it. And then, like I said, it becomes like a cycle. Now, what I kind of did, one of the things that when I was kind of building, and I was probably, it was like June of 2025, I think it was. I think it was in June of last year. It might have been May. But what I did was I wanted to do something where we kind of highlighted the people that were selling 40K or more, for the team. So what I did was I was like, all right, cool. Like we'll do like a 40K dinner. And the idea behind it was everybody that's in the area, we have an office here, which is another thing, right? If you don't have an office, you should definitely think about getting one, having a headquarters. But not to go into that, the point is we looked around and we're like, if we have, X amount of people in the office right now, how many people can we get to sell 40K and then center something around it where there's like some type of recognition for it as well, but also what it creates is like a FOMO about it. Whereas if you're not there, it's like, damn, what did I do that I kind of missed out on this? So the first time we ever did the dinner, we only had me plus three people that I took to go there, right? And this was, like I said, around June of last year. Fast forward to this month of January, December numbers just came out. Right now, we're having issues finding a restaurant to seat all of us because we're 16 people now. So from 4 people to 16 people. And it's not like it was like that we just recruited so much more people. It's the same people that were still in those seats in the same office. It's not that we recruited them, we just pushed them to do better, right? And that standard of like we would post on Instagram every single time, hey, this is our 40K dinner. Look who's here. I'd have people blowing up my phone every time, hey, next time there's a 40K dinner, I'm gonna be there, right? Because they feel as if not as if they did a great job by being there, the guys that are there. It's more so where did I mess up so I'm not there? And that's kind of like the standard and the culture that we kind of have around here. If you're not selling 40K, where'd you mess up on? And I have people that start in the business all the time right now. And so of course we kind of look at it as like 10K. If you're not submitting $10,000 a week, you are messing up as well, right? And it turns into if I'm not selling at least 10K a week with the way our culture works, then again, like I have to be missing or lacking some type of part of the business, whether it is, leads, maybe it is I'm not buying enough, or maybe I'm inconsistent with buying them. Maybe I'm not working hard enough. Maybe I'm not intentional enough with my time. Maybe I'm not good enough on the phone and I need to worry about my training more. And I kind of got to dig into that. Maybe I got to listen to somebody else that's selling at a higher level, kind of listen to him and see what I could pick up off of him and leverage him and some of the other top producers to kind of help teach me, right? Because if I'm selling 50K, even if your upline that brought you in isn't selling 50, well, there's someone around you that you might know that's selling 50. Let me listen to him on the phone all day, right? Because that's what the kind of the office culture tends into, where it's like, bro, like even if I absolutely suck, there's so many people here that are selling 15, 20, even 25K in a month in a week here. So over a month period, you see the numbers come out and it's like 50K, 60K, 70K, 80K producers, even 100K plus producers on our team. It kind of makes everyone else feel if I don't sell at least minimum $10,000, then there has to be something wrong with me, because that's what we always do. We don't take any excuses. We don't let people kind of make excuses for themselves here. We all negativity is all thrown out at the door. So it all comes into just straight accountability for every single person here. So when I have somebody new that just started a month ago and he says, man, I'm still not selling 10K in a week. What can I be doing better? That's the culture that you want to bring instead of, hey, man, you sold 10K a week. Let's throw a celebration for you. You know, that's not what we do. We don't like clap hands and everything for it. And like I said, that's kind of like what plays into like that 40K dinner. Like people that are there are not celebrating that they're there. They're more so upset that they're not there if they didn't get there. And then what comes into that as well in the culture is going to be basically competitions kind of help with it. So like I said, like a 40K dinner competition, we do like brackets, right? We're really open that we talk trash. Like if you're on like Frank Euphemia's team and let's just say he's going against Jackson Becker's team and we're doing a competition this week and we're doing a bet, like, all right, cool. Like that sparks motivation. It sparks, people that just say, hey, listen, man, like I had that competitive edge in me. Like it kind of takes to a new level where you see either, let's say it's between teams, they're kind of going at it each other, right? Or let's just say if you're talking about just within the own agency where it's like, man, like this dude, like right now I always say this, right? We have dudes that have hit the max comp level contract in our agency, right? And you'll still see a dude outdo that dude the next week. And the reason why is because he's not the dude who's trying to beat him isn't chasing a higher comp. He's chasing to be the best. He's training to be better than this guy. That's what it comes down to. Our top 10 on the agency are all at the highest comp levels for agents. Like they can't get any higher. The only way to get a higher comp is going to be through building a team, right? Because like as you guys see, the 120 after that, it's not about the producer, it's about team building only. So it's like, okay, so what's pushing him? Like he's not getting a higher comp. Obviously, he's gonna make more money the more that he sells. But like as like a competition, as like a goal that you're striving for, what they're all striving for is like, man, I want my picture on the top 10 of that leaderboard when it comes out on Instagram. You know, I want to beat this dude, to show him that I'm better than him. Like that's what a real team and culture is built off of. Like we embrace like trash talk. We embrace it here. Like this is sales. Like it's sales and sports are like hand in hand as far as I look at it. Like we embrace all the trash talk. Like if somebody fell off and they sold 20K one month and they sold 40K the next month and the next month they're back to 20, we're like, what, you sold 40K one month, you got happy? Like were you happy with it? Like where'd you go? Like, and it's a joke here that if you're selling at that amount, if you're inconsistent, it's a joke that you're inconsistent. If you sell at a low level, it's like, bro, like, do you even work here? Like, what do you do? Like, it's a joke about it, and that's the way that a sales environment should be. Is when you expect the best of the best. And the thing is, we are fully convinced on my team that we are the best. Like, it's something that we're fully convinced. It's something that we tell each other and we tell ourselves. So and what I mean by that is like we literally will say like, "Hey man, like we should sell the most because we are the best." Right? Our team should go from 300,000 to 2 million in a year because we are the best. Right? It's not for any other reason and we shouldn't be super happy that we went from 300,000 to 2 million in one year like because that's what we expect we're going to do because again we have the best of the best guys and we have the best leaders we have the best training we have the best everything there we have the best resources we have everything that every team wants and we have the best people and we have the best we recruit the absolute best and only the best so therefore we're not going to be happy when we succeed or when we win it's a 30-second clap oh congratulations guys good job and that's about it but that's the culture that we built here and like I said, a lot of people are kind of lacking that where they feel like if somebody sold 40K, they want to throw a party for them. No, we don't do that. We say if somebody even sold, I have dudes that come up to me and they're like, "Hey, coach, man, I just wanted to tell you, man, it's Thursday and I'm already at $10,000 for the week." I shake his hand, great job, man. Let's go for 15. That's it. I don't need more explanation. I don't need to hear about all the sales that you did. I don't want to hear how you upsold this guy. We don't need to hear about all that. All I tell you is congratulations, man. Just go to 15,000 and let me know when you get to 15. He'll come back in on Saturday and say, "Hey man, I got 15. Hey man, what's the chance you get to 20 by the end of the day then?" Like that's the way that we're bred here. And it's because again, we believe we're the best of the best. And if that dude does sell 20,000, he won't be the only dude here to sell 20,000 that week. It's like, oh man, I'm one of 20. And then what happens is again, it's a rinse and repeat. New people come in. New people see so many people selling at $20,000 level. They believe it's possible. They believe it can happen. They think, why not them? If I'm not doing it, what am I doing wrong? And that is exactly the cycle. It's literally it's like an effect of if you looked at it in a circle, it's like you don't even know where it started from. Like why did people start selling 50K plus minimum a month? It was like what came first? Was it the top producers or what was it? And I was like, no, it was the fact of like everybody just remembers I came in, everybody was selling 50K, so I sold 50K, and then the new dude gets recruited, everybody sells 50K, so I sell 50K, and then it just goes up, 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 and up. But the belief comes down to we are the absolute best, and it's something that I preach to my guys. Everybody should preach to their own guys. And even when we do, like for example, we had a um we had a bracket competition that we did for the team, and it was through all of Playbook. So right, Playbook has about like 600 agents on there right now, and we probably make up like I would say like a quarter of it, right? So we're about a quarter of Playbook, maybe a little bit less. And when we did the bracket, and we had people like pair up in the teams, and it was one of those things when we do the bracket every single time, we always say like, hey man, like there's no reason why somebody from the game plan agency doesn't win this bracket, right? And if they don't, like I let them know straight up, if we don't win the bracket, if someone on the game plan doesn't win, this is an embarrassment. Like no ifs, ands, or buts. I don't care if you sold $1 million and a dude on another team sold $1,000,001. If somebody from the game plan agency doesn't win, that's the complete embarrassment and we failed. And it builds the team culture. So even at a point where dudes are getting kicked out on our team, they are literally can't wait to see the results because they're like, no, somebody from our team has to win. Like somebody has to bring this home for us. Like that's the team culture that we have. And it's because they absolutely believe that it is an embarrassment if somebody on this team doesn't win because they actually believe in their mind, in their heart that we are better. And in result, we actually are better, right? But it's telling them that time and time again. That's what it's expected of. We're not going to be, like I said, proud or happy if we got into second place. It's to strive for first place and build that culture around that. Now, the last part that I was going to go over is going to be the training. So to kind of recap it quick, right? We talked about leads. We talked about activity and work ethic. We talked about, basically when it comes to standard, all that comes into like the mindset of it, the culture, all three of those, really important thing. Now, the fourth thing that some people need to kind of have to get to that next level is going to be actual real training, right? And what we say about actual real training, what a lot of people think is they come up with this like half-ass script, hand it out, tell a dude, bro, just memorize this script, work really hard, and then buy leads, and you're gonna be fine. No, that's not training at all. Like giving somebody a script that's not even like that's half thought out script that's not even hasn't even been like absolutely like dug into absolute detail and refined time and time again. It's the same script that's been there forever that hasn't ever been changed or updated. And who knows the dude that even wrote it, like what he's actually producing out of it. Like who knows the credentials of that person that actually wrote the script. Like when we were making our agency script, we brought only the best people in. We brought a dude that sold $1 million in $1 million in 2025. We brought in, somebody that has, trained multiple people to sell at a high level. And we brought in another person that sold Hall of Fame 2 years in a row. And we're like, all right, these are the absolute best of the best here. Let's lock in a room for hours and figure this out and refine the script to the absolute detail of every single word that's in there. And we'd sit in there and argue about one line on the script for 30 minutes because I would say it this way and this guy would say it this way and he would say it this way. And that is like the absolute like detail that goes into it. It's not like, hey man, like I got this script from this team over here. Let's just use it, bro, because I think they do good. And I don't know who wrote it, but guess what? Like that's what we could do. Right? Now, that's the first thing is getting a good script down. And then, like I said, not just relying on the script itself. What I always say is the script, it's not a cage, it's a guideline, right? So anybody can read a script, but obviously, if you don't have a good tone and you're not kind of preaching that and you're not kind of listening and correcting it, then of course he's not going to get as much success with getting later into the script. All right. Correcting them when you hear them, let's just say if I'm on the phone, like I would say I go if I hear one of like a new agent on the phone or even if not new or not new, and I hear one of his calls, I'll wait for when his call's done. I'll take down a few notes and we'll go over the training about what he could work on. And it's not like very like bland, very like not in detail. Like I will look at it and I'll be like, listen, I'll be honest, like you did build like a solid why, but honestly, you didn't really go into it as deep as you could have. And like judging by the other side of the call that I just listened to, I know you mentioned that she had kids. I didn't really hear you talk about much about it or how that's going to affect the children. I didn't really hear you talk about, and I'll literally do a whole breakdown, explain to them where they could have built more urgency, or like if somebody said, "Hey man, I've got like diabetes and maybe they have like a high blood pressure as well." And it's like, hey man, I know that's not the biggest deal in the world, right? That somebody has diabetes and high blood pressure, but there is some bit of health complications there, right? Like, do you build on those health complications to try to build urgency of like, hey man, like God forbid your diabetes ever got worse, man. Unfortunately, if you have neuropathy, you ever have a leg amputated, you ever get any blindness, coming from the diabetes, and unfortunately, you wouldn't qualify for coverage. So I'm glad you're taking care of this before any of that happens, right? And that's like something that we look for, right? Is where I'm looking for a line that we say time and time again. And if I don't hear somebody say that line, I'm going to correct and say, hey, man, like he had diabetes. You know that we say this certain line to build the urgency and to build the why on it. I didn't hear you do it. And next time you get on the script, like you better do it because you want to build the why. And if there is no why, there's no buy. And if there's no urgency, then why is he going to do it today, right? You just gave this dude a phone call out of the blue, right? With just because he sent in a request, just because he probably sent that like 5 days ago and he was looking through Facebook and he didn't even really remember sending it in. Now you expect to give him a call and expect him to make a decision and make it today while he's on the phone with you and not go and think about it, right? So you have to be really good at building the why, building the urgency, right? So and like I said, this isn't a sales training call. What this is like building a leader call, but at the same time, like if you yourself, one, don't have the skill set, you have to work on it. And then two, are you inspecting it on your agents? Because you could sell $1 million a month, but it doesn't mean you know how to train for $1 million a month. And the reason why is because you don't go into that detail when you hear somebody on a call, right? Like we'll get on a call and I'll see a dude stutter on the opening 5 times. And I was like, bro, you've been here for a month. You stumbled on the opening about 5 times on these objections. And I was like, so like, did you not memorize it well enough? Like, what's going on? Like, are you not taking this seriously? And it's a conversation you have to have, right? Because obviously, if you're upline and you're spending your time on building this guy up, you want to see that he's giving you 100% back. If you're giving 120, you expect at least 100 in return. All right, so it's inspecting the little things. If I had a dude a couple months ago, we write all our he was in office. So all the guys in office that we have them write all their sales on the board. If it's virtual, you could just basically have like some type of system where you guys are keeping track of people's sales for the week, right? So I had one dude I looked, he had like maybe 6 sales that week, and it was like a Wednesday. It was doing really well, but he probably only had like $4,000 in IP that was submitted. And I'm like, man, like your premiums are pretty low. And me looking at the board, I'm gonna dig into detail of every single thing you're doing. I'm like, why are your premiums so low? And as I gone over and I went through a training with him, I explained to him, hey, like this is why you're making this mistake. This is how we're gonna fix it. And then I kind of also educated him on like the younger somebody is, right? The more you have to sell him on, like if you're doing for example, a final expense type of sale, the more you have to sell them on the final expense because of course there's inflation that goes up in the future. If you're selling somebody a cremation package and a dude is 55 and the other dude you just sold is 80, well, they don't need the same amount of coverage. The dude who's 55 is going to need way more. You're treating them as if they're all the same people. And that dude that's 55 as well, right? His premium is lower because he's younger. So it's like you're doing him a disservice by giving him too low, and you're also doing yourself a disservice by not getting paid more from a higher premium you could have sold. And he'll probably end up buying coverage later down the line from somebody else, just not you. Right? So it's like looking into little things like that is what I go over. And what I do is like if I notice a couple things wrong, like for example, I have new people that I give like special like more attention to than guys who are selling like 60K a week. I let them do their 60K a month. I let them do their own thing, right? So like I have guys that are right now like all pretty new, all within their first month, and we have like our own special group chat for like new agents, right? And so I could spend more time with them, hear them more on their calls because these are people I want to focus on because they're new and they haven't figured it out yet. And what I do is over that week, I'll look at what mistakes I'm seeing often. And then when Saturday comes, Saturday morning, we do a training and it'll be centered around what mistakes I saw. So, for example, if I saw mistakes on, um, let's just say, objections when it comes to banking or if it comes to social, okay, like I'm gonna focus on like, hey, I feel like you guys need some more work on this. This is what we're gonna focus on. Because I'm very intentional with every single thing that I think could be worked on and working on it. Right. And the line that I always say is you have to inspect what you expect. Right. So if you're not inspecting somebody's call and saying, you know, I expect you to sell, I expect you to, if I had to give this call a rating out of 10, and if your call isn't a 10 out of 10, then I have to inspect what you did wrong and where we could correct it to make it a 10 out of 10 next time. And it might not be solved today, but if we do it time and time again, eventually it will. So again, inspect what you inspect are your guys' sales training calls, right? All for trainings multiple times in a week to be able to at a larger scale be able to get more people to hear what you're talking about, right? Like not everything is just a one-on-one. Leverage your other guys to maybe host a training. So if somebody's selling at a 60K level and they heard the same training from you 50 times, leverage some of the other guys. Like, hey man, you sell at a really high level. How about you could teach what you know? Maybe you might have a little bit different way of going about things than me that might touch some of the people here, might click with them. The reason why I'm on this call right now is because Zach could go on this call 50 times in a month, right? And it's like, all right, cool, but like he might have a different way of doing things than maybe I might do things, or by this guy might do things, or the other guy. So it's like leverage the other guys that are having success in your team to also host trainings. And I would say I'd rather you be overtrained than undertrained. I'd rather bug you with more trainings than get less trainings, right? Because we're that intentional about it. All right. Now we're gonna open up a couple minutes here for Q&A, probably for like a good like 5-10 minutes. All right, no questions? All right. If you don't have to raise your hand, bro, just unmute. If you have a question, don't type it in the chat, just unmute, man.
Oh, fire. I was trying to unmute. So when it comes to you were talking about, selling someone that's like 55 and not trying to give them the standard package, how do you frame getting them more coverage in place early on so that they don't look for it later on? Because I hear that once someone get insurance, they're always going to buy insurance. They're insurance buyers, so they're always going to get insurance later. So how do you get them to like get as much insurance as possible
Mm-hmm.
with you so that they don't have to buy again later on?
Gotcha. Okay. So the first thing it sounds like is just to kind of make sure I have this question right. You're wondering how do you sell them more insurance, right? Like if they're a little bit younger and they're going to need it, right?
Yeah, like let's say they got approved for like 20,000, right? And
Yeah.
they might have some wiggle room within their budget. Like how do you frame just telling them like, hey, like you're probably
Oh,
gonna buy
okay.
more
So
later
basically,
on.
after you already get a close, no matter what amount it is, how to kind of upsell it after the close is done.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Okay, perfect. Easy way to do it, bro, is my personal opinion on it, and other people might disagree that I hear, is let's just say if America approves up to $40,000 and you sold them for 20,000, they'll say, "Hey man, congratulations, you know, you got approved up to the 40 grand," and then basically kind of assume the close and be like, because I'll tell you both ways, right? I'll tell you the way most people do it and I do it. So they'll say, "Hey man, congratulations, you got approved up to $40,000 here, Marcus." And of course, you know it's already pre-approved. We could elect to go with that now. It's going to cost you, let's say, only 250 a month. Did you want to jump to that one and go with this one instead, or did you want to stick with what you already had? Right? And it's like, did you want to go with this one instead, or did you want to keep it? Like, you don't want to put too much pressure because you still want to secure what you have, but you kind of throw it out there and say, did you want this? It's only going to cost this, right? Not saying it's a bad way to do it, but the way I look at it is if a dude just would agree to spending $150 a month, you just saying, hey man, you got approved for, $40,000 for now $300 a month and doubled his premium, a lot of people might not take it, right? Because realistically, it's like, bro, like I would have probably asked you for higher amounts if I was willing to spend an extra $150, double what I spent, like or already agreed to spend. So the way I do it is I always say just go up one level, right? So what I mean by that is let's just say if somebody's looking at a policy and it's 15,000 for $150, and he of course he got approved the Marico and it's up to 40, $50,000, whatever he got approved up to. And I don't say, hey, you got to prove that's that 40 grand. All I'll do is I'll be like, okay, well, he already took the 15 grand for 150. Maybe if I offer him the 20 grand for 200 and let him know he did get approved to this level, maybe he might just say, you know what? Screw it. It's only an extra 50 bucks. I already got approved it. Let me just take it. So I focus on like not like digging your hand in the cookie jar, like that saying, right? And you can't pull it out because you try to pull up too much. I look at it as I'm just gonna kind of go one level up and just say, hey man, congrats. Like let's just go up that one level. And do you want to take it? And a lot of times, because it's not a significant price difference, but it's extra 50 bucks, they might take it.
That's fire. That's so fire. Thank you.
Hey, Coach, quick question. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for the information that you shared with us over here. And what's uh, what's your follow-up process after you get the deals? Because I'm starting in the business new. I have about 30 agents in the pipeline. I just want to implement a really strong process for the follow-up.
Got it. So basically, after you put somebody through the course, what's your process between?
No, a follow-up for the clients that you submitted the deals to.
Oh, I mean, I'll keep it brief because again, this is like a builder's call, right? It's not like a sales call, so we don't want to go too much
Got
into
you.
how to help you like secure sales or something. But what I'll tell you is honestly, man, follow-ups afterwards, I send a text message follow up. Besides that, man, I don't really like need to follow up. I make sure they save my number. I let them know before they get off the line. I send them a text message after with a recap of what we spoke about. And again, let them know sending referrals my way and they can follow up with me. But then again, besides that, like the deal's closed. If they know they have my number if they need anything, like I'm moving on to next people. I'm really strict on my time. I'm not calling them back.
Got you. And the follow-up for the agents after you get them the course.
I always say I just talk to them whenever I ask them, like, hey, send me a screenshot when I put them through the course of when there's test is scheduled for. The day of their exam, I text them and tell them good luck, man. Like I'll put like a reminder on my phone. I text them good luck. I see if I tell them let me know what the result is. If they told me they passed, cool. From there, what I get started on is I get them on the training process because I always say the training starts right after they passed, not when they not when they start dialing. So I'll get them started with getting them the script. I'll get them started with watching training videos that I like. I'll handpick some that I like, and I'll send them to kind of every single person. Say, hey, watch these, and I'll give them hours and hours worth of training videos because it does take about 2 weeks to be able to get at least like 3, 4 carriers from the day you pass your exam. At least in the state of most states, it will. Like because it probably gonna take a couple days to get your MPN, then probably another 10 days to get like Americo, AMM, Mutual of Omaha, and usually like trans are probably within like 2 weeks of that. So within that time frame, it's like giving them the script, making sure they're practicing it, and then again giving them a bunch of training videos, and then I'll check in on them 1 week from there, right? So 1 week from there, I'll do a check in with them. I'll say, hey, how's it going? What videos have you liked? I'll kind of not like test them or like go through the script, but I'll ask them questions, and basically those questions will kind of tell me if you kind of went through it or not, right? How good you got it memorized, and I'll just ask them straight, man, like how much have you memorized of it? And then I'll be like, and I'll test them like, hey, man, like if we went through the script training right now, like be honest, like are you actually gonna know half of it? Are you and like and I just told him, listen, man, I just want to help you out. I just want to make sure you're prepared when you start. I want to make sure you hit the ground running. And then basically I'll do a check-in a week after they pass to see their progress of the training that they're doing. And then of course, I kind of get like a start day situated with them as well. I like to let people know the day that they're going to start before they start. I don't want them to just wake up one day, they got 3 carriers already or something, and I was like, hey man, now it's time for you to start. Like tomorrow, let's just start working. No, like I like to say, hey, it's probably going to take you 2 weeks. Today, right now, is the 19th. Let's just say I'm like, hey man, we come back from convention this day, you just passed. So probably the second is going to be when the Monday starts, new week starts. Monday, February 2nd is when you're going to start. And I'll make sure that throughout that, we'll kind of check in a couple times about how their training process goes and make sure they know there's a deadline. February 2nd, I have to make sure that I know what I'm doing. All right. And I know there's a lot of like messages in the chat asking questions, but I know I won't be able to kind of get through all of them. So if somebody just unmutes, it'll be a lot simpler.
Hello.
Yeah, I hear you. Who's that?
Hey, what's up, man? Yeah, I just wanted to ask you about the new agents. Like, I'm a new agent myself, but the new agents I bring on board, would you I guess, would you recommend me to tell them to go ahead and get a life insurance policy? Like, so they believe in the product?
No, I wouldn't. Because
No.
then honestly, if I was a new agent and the guy who brought me in just tried selling me, I'd be like, bro, what is going on? Like that's gonna make you gotta remember, bro, like you gotta be really honest with yourself. I know when I started, I know when I brought my first couple people into the business, I know when a lot of people started, everybody started with a dream, but they're still really not sure how this is gonna go. They're not really sure how they're in the
One
right
second, one second.
spot. So if that same person that just brought you in, you're already a little bit nervous about this, and then he goes, "Yeah, bro, now sign up for this life insurance policy." It's like, you know? So like that already would leave like a weird taste in their mouth, and again, maybe hurts your trust a little bit. You get what I'm saying? Especially if it's not actually something that he would need. And you're kind of just going with like, "Hey, bro, you're 20 years old, you're broke, but let's get you a life insurance policy." Like he has no people relying on him financially and he's struggling day to day already. Like, why would he buy a life insurance agency? I mean, not agency, life insurance policy. Excuse me. You get what I'm saying? So I wouldn't do it. I think it would only hurt you and not help you. Anybody else? We'll take two more.
Hello? Okay.
Yeah, hello?
So how long, I want to build a big team. How long do you say before, but I'm a new agent, how long would you give yourself before you start recruiting people or bringing people on your team? And do you recommend hiring friends or no?
I always recommend hiring friends. My friends are the have the biggest agencies on my agency. They're the best people I've ever brought on.
Okay.
So, and the reason why is because your friends are probably going to be somewhere like you, someone like you. I mean, if Sabrina, you're here, you're on these calls, you're trying to build a bigger team, I'm sure you have like-minded friends as well. And people talk about not mixing friends and business, family and business, all that, all that doesn't work, especially here, because with here, it's very simple, right? You bring somebody on, the more money that he makes, the more money you make. So now you're more inclined to help that person make money because now you make money. It's the best business in the world for that reason. So it's like, okay, I bring my friend who I actually really care about and I really want them to make money on top of not just like obviously my personal financial gain. I actually genuinely want to see this person make money. I'm going to try my absolute best. And if I try my absolute best and they are putting in the same, you know, effort back into me, I don't see how this doesn't become successful for them. And then from then on, that's how you have the most loyal people on your team. Like those I wouldn't be where I am without my friends that I brought in the beginning because if I was bringing on five people, I could just ask my friend that I help make a lot of money, say, "Hey man, like I need your help. Can you help me train some of my new guys? Because like I can't listen, I can only listen to so many calls a day and I got five new people and I would leverage them and they're the most loyal dudes of all time. So yeah, I would definitely recommend it.
Cool. Thank you. Because, yeah, I've always heard, don't mix friends with business or whatever, but I have a lot of great women that I think would do really, really well that I'd like to recruit. And then how do you personally judge someone's like passion? Because I think that's the biggest thing to like bringing someone on board is, are they passionate? How do you test that?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's hard, right? Like you never really know what you're going to get out of somebody, but
Mm.
what it is I put them through a few tests, right? Like I'll have them watch a couple videos, again, some videos that you might like, maybe one breaking down the business of how FFL works, maybe none of them, breaking down like some type of stories of maybe somebody struggling in the beginning and how the kind of the job works on a day-to-day basis. Whatever you kind of decide that you feel like is suitable to send them, right? You send those videos, and especially how quick he gets back to you about those videos, that's going to judge basically the seriousness that you think they're going to actually how serious you think they're going to be. Right? That's first off. And then second, I'm super super honest with how the business is. I don't sugarcoat it whatsoever. Cuz sugarcoating it would make somebody feel eventually, man, I don't know if I signed up for what I was told I signed up for. Like I tell somebody straight up, "Hey, listen, man, everybody here is working 60 hours a week." I'm like, I was like, this job is simple, but it's not easy. Like, yeah, all we do is dial people on the phone, and yeah, it just looks like you just dial a script, but it sounds really simple, and it is, but it's not easy to do. I was like, and don't get me wrong, sometimes it's stressful. Sometimes like I said, you're putting in long hours. Maybe sometimes you might not see family and friends as much. I was like, but I was like, if you're willing to do it, it's the most rewarding job there is. I was like, it changed my life. It changed my brother's life. It changed my closest friend's life. It changed some of my cousins that I have brought on's lives. It's changed people that I've known all my lives, like people that I've even met here that I've met through just recruiting. It changed their lives, and these are some of the closest people to me now. So I'll tell them like if you're one of those people that's willing to sacrifice a few things, then yes, this job is for you. But if you're not, then unfortunately, I don't want you, wasting your time. So, like I said, you have to really just figure out, you have to be really honest and just see if they actually are willing to sacrifice some things to be able to be successful here. And if they are, then cool. We go from there. And some people will still let you down, some people won't. But that's just how the business goes. All right. What about you, Erica?
Um, I know you guys like sell and build at a really high level. So what was those? I don't know if you're still selling on your own pen or not, but when you were, or if you are, how did those expectations and I guess like boundaries look for you in the beginning where like you were still having to produce, but also you wanted your team to like win and succeed and all the things? Like what did your schedule look like of like selling and building?
Yeah, so
Yeah,
what I
so
would
what
say, yeah, so what I would say is basically I would kind of focus on those in the morning. Like if I'm training somebody, is I would do like, for example, if I'm doing like going through a role play on the script, or I'm doing a training for some of the newer guys, or whatever I'm doing, I would say my hard cutoff was always like 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock, I'm done with that. So whether and if 11 o'clock isn't enough time for you, then you might have to get to the office earlier, right? If you need like an hour and a half today, maybe you think you're going to need or whatever it is. So 11 o'clock was the cutoff time, and then from 11 to like 7:30, I would be dialing, and then throughout my dialing, yes, there's going to be questions, or you might hear somebody like get pretty deep into the script, and I might take a step back and like, all right, let me listen to see like him closing it and see if I could like hear him on the phone a little bit, and then yeah, like I said, like there's going to be some times of the day where like you're doing that, but the funny things that I always say is that 11 to 7:30 when I was doing that instead of just dialing the full day when I started building, one thing I realized was my production didn't drop off at all. My production only started to drop once my team hit like I would say like 400K a month. That's the only time I realized I even lost like $1 out of my production. And the reason why is because people are very much so not as good with their time as they think. And then what a mindset change for me was I went from being I was working hard, right? But I wasn't as good with my time as I thought. And then when I had to train, and then between the training in the morning to maybe hearing a few calls during the day or answering a few questions, I always felt like, oh man, like before I was like, I have to dial 10 hours a day. Now I felt blessed that I was able to dial 8 hours. Like I was actually like super like happy. I'm like, oh, cool. Like it's been the last 3 hours. Nobody's asked me any questions. I haven't had to like interrupt myself much or nothing like that. I felt like I was blessed to dial those hours out of the day. And what I realized is I was taking more advantage of my time, and I was more intentional with my time because I knew that I was on a limited amount of dialing time, not like my previous, you know, kind of schedule. And what I realized, like I said, is this, I was just more intentional with the time I had. Even if I was dialing 8 hours instead of 10 a day, it was a more intentional 8 hours of dialing a day. Then after 7:30, what I would do is I would again just start, you know, like answering questions, maybe do like a small little training, go over a few things, or if somebody had something, they would write a question down, I'd go over afterwards. So 7:30, I'd kind of answer more questions and do a little more training. But that would be like my schedule. All right, we'll take one more question and then we'll wrap this up. All right. Actually, I'll take one from here because I know a lot of people have saying they're not able to unmute. Um, what are necessary steps you do to hold your agents to a high standard? That Francisco asked. This is the last one we'll take. Yeah, so Francisco, basically, bro, to hold them to the high standard, basically you have to be the standard first and foremost, right? like I said, like I always make it a point, like I want to outwork the guys on my team to make them feel like, you know what? Like I don't have any excuse. Like this dude already is making, whatever money he's making and he's still working really hard. So how could I, as somebody that's either one, just newly making money or two, not making money, how could I feel like I could work less than that guy? Right? And then that's like where kind of like some of like the energy comes from. Then besides that, it's just a culture that we built here, where it's like you find the right people, you recruit the right people, and you instill them. Like I said about earlier, like this is just what we do. Like this is the standard here. Like if you don't sell high enough at a level, like what are you doing wrong? You need to work on some things. And like I said, it's not like saying it in a way to make them feel bad or nothing, but it's a way of telling them like, hey man, like you're like I don't like if someone's maybe works like 40 hours a week, it's a joke that'll go around. The people ask him like, bro, do you still work here? Like he'll come into work, let's say on a Saturday, and it's like, oh man, you showed up on a Saturday, man. And they'll clap for him like as a joke, like, oh man, John showed up on a Saturday today. Like, congrats, man. Like that's the kind of energy that we have in the team because they don't respect anything less than 60 hours a week. Because that's what we formed. And it's like all these dudes are super motivated and driven because they see the results here and they notice that like everybody that's getting results are working at this high level and they think you're absolutely insane for not working 60 hours a week. How could you have this opportunity and not put in the hours just because you want to sleep longer, because you want to party on Friday and party on Saturday, right? Like, how could you possibly trade that for this? Because there's the results right here as well. So, like, that's where, like I said, the standard comes in from getting some results, from getting some people to work hard. And then again, at the same time, we don't congratulate people for working 60 hours a week. We don't tell them, hey, man, you're the hardest worker of all time because you work 60 hours. Like, no, that's what we do. Somebody sells 80K in a month. I'm like, man, congrats, man. Dap them up. Hey, listen, bro, keep it up, man. And that's about it. Like we don't throw a party. We don't put him on social media and make his own special post for selling $80,000. Someone could sell $100,000. We don't make his own post unless you beat the agency record. We don't make a post for you because yeah, like you sold 100K, but guess what? 5 other people did too, bro. We're not making 5 posts. Congrats, man. But maybe you should try to beat the dude at 100 if you want to post. I mean, maybe you should beat the dude that's at number one, like the agency record, which is 180,000 in a month. Like maybe you should try to beat that record if you want to post for like selling like a really high level. Besides that, you'll get your top 10 posts like everybody else, right? And like I said, then doing things like that, like competition and just building that fire inside of them, bro, it just comes from literally just believing that we are the best. We are the absolute best that the agency has. And we actually do believe like we are going to take FFL over. Like we believe that like 100%. And they'll come up to me and when the team and the agency numbers come out, I have dudes texting me, blowing me up, hitting me in the office. Hey man, what the numbers came out? What did the game plan finish at? What did it finish at? Because they're so excited to be on the winning team, on the winning train, and they really believe that we're gonna eventually like do something here that's like gonna leave a huge impact. And they love it. They don't want to feel like they're on a team that's like not really like sharpening them. They feel like on a team that's like maybe holding them back. They feel blessed to be on this team. I saw like Mike, he does the FL podcast, say it kind of the other day on Instagram. He was like, no, like why should I hire you? Like why should I let you join us? Like that's literally what we feel here. It's like even when you join the team, why should we keep you here? Like you don't provide any value. Like all you do is you come in late, you complain. How about this? Like leave. Like we don't need you. Like we have a bunch of people making a lot of money. Trust me, bro. Like we're not starving for an override. You could go, right? That's the way we look at it. Like I don't care if a dude sells $100,000 a month. If he's a negative person in the office, if he starts problems, if he's not good for the culture, he's not good for a team. Hey man, you can work from home. We don't really need you. We don't need you to hop on the Zoom and talk to everybody, bro. Like we're good, right? And if you're especially if you're selling at a lower level, it's like, bro, like you don't even sell at a high level. You're not a negative person. You're not the type of person we want around. Hey man, like your $15,000 a month that you sell. Hey man, you could take that. You could go because that's like the culture that we have here is like you don't have any room to complain. And if you don't want to strive for more and you're selling 15K a month and you're happy with it, then like we don't really want you around. All right. So thank you guys. Thank you guys for taking the time here. Hopefully, helped out a little bit here with some of these you might be struggling with. If you guys ever need anything, you can follow me on Instagram, Mo underscore, I think is it Mo underscore Raja? Let me make sure. I'm not the best at Instagram, but Mo Raja, MOERAJA underscore. I can put it in the chat right here. And if you have any questions, just feel free to DM me. All right. Thank you guys. Bye.